presidential nominee Donald Trump spoke today at the press conference in Florida and basically told Russia to find 30,000 missing emails of former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. What are you making of this call?
These are absolutely unprecedented and reckless and outrageous remarks. He's effectively inviting an adversarial power, the Russian Federation, to hack into the emails of a leading presidential contender. It's un-American, it's a betrayal of our interests and values. It's extremely unwise for Trump to say this. He is being repudiated across the United States by political leaders in both parties for what he said today. He also said something else. He said in response to a question he might consider recognizing the Russian occupation and annexation of Crimea, and he might consider lifting sanctions on Russia. I hope he'll never become president because I support Hillary Clinton. I can tell you Trump does not represent 99.9% of the American political leadership, because all of us believe we have to stand up to Russia and be firm with Russia and not agree with the invasion of Ukraine or the annexation of Crimea or the invasion of Georgia before.
And do you think there is any base of arguments of this claim that Russia might be meddling in the electoral process in the U.S.?
I think the Russian government has to be careful. When you hear our President Obama, say it's possible that the Russian government could have been behind the hacking into the Democratic National Committee, it's playing with fire for a Russian government to think that it can influence the American elections. If that's what the Russian government is doing, it's extremely unwise. And I think you're going to see an international reaction that Putin is someone who cannot be trusted, and the gulf of differences between the United States and Russia is going to deepen. I think other countries that are friendly to the United States are going to look upon this in a very unfriendly way towards the Russian Federation as well. It's not going to help Russia.
You said you're a supporter of Hillary Clinton. How would the foreign policy of Hillary Clinton look different from what we have today? Will it be any different?
Well, I think there'd be a lot of continuity with President Obama. Hillary Clinton served as his Secretary of State, and she agrees with much of what President Obama has done. But the agenda in 2017, I think, is going to be even more difficult than what we've had over the last couple of years, because we do have the necessity of containing Russian power. And that's why it's been so important to shift NATO battalions into Poland and the Baltic states to show President Putin that Article 5 of the NATO treaty is real and that we will defend it no matter what Donald Trump says. So a President Clinton would have to deal with a recalcitrant Russia, a Middle East that is unstable and in turmoil, a difficult balancing act with China, and of course the spate of terrorist attacks that we've seen both in the United States but also in Europe and the Middle East over the last couple of months. This is a very tall agenda. It's going to require a reassertion of American power and American leadership. And I think that's very much, as I travel around the world, that's very much what people want to see right now.
But isn't ISIS the common enemy, and doesn't it contradict a bit that Russia is an adversary? I mean, how do you work with Russia on...
Russia's done very little to combat ISIS. The great majority of Russian airstrikes are against other rebel groups in Syria and against civilian targets like hospitals in Aleppo. And so the Russian government, with Iran as the major supporter of the Assad government, President Assad has killed more Syrians than any other group has. So we're combating the Islamic State. The United States is leading the coalition. Russia's not done much to help.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.